Order. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka, he'll be a little late, but he will be present. Councilwoman D'Arminio.
Here.
Councilman Garrett.
Here.
Councilman Accomando.
Here.
Council President Mazer.
Here. Please rise for the salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
At this time, we will going to have the presentation of the purchase, of potential purchase of 55 Mayhill Street. Yes. Pete's taking over. Yep.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for this opportunity to speak on behalf of a project we've been working on. Again, I just want to remind everybody this is a conceptual plan. It's far from a done deal with the plans. But what we have here is what it would look like on the outside, as well as plans for the first floor and a second floor. Again, the owners of the property showed us how we could put the town hall, a municipal, recreation, fire, and the ambulance corps at the site. Before we begin on that, I just want to go through a little history. Since the mayor appointed me township historian, I did a little research, and unfortunately, I was a part of a lot of this history, so I just want to go over. A few years back, we celebrated our 300th anniversary as Saddle River Township. A lot of the towns broke away from us: Elmwood Park, East Patterson, Garfield, Fairlawn. Those communities, our surrounding communities, all have recreation centers, community centers, municipal building that functions, as well as fire and ambulance. We've had our missed opportunities over the years. We had the opportunity to purchase 17 Platt Avenue. In 1972, that was sold to the Holy Apostles Church. And in the mid-70s, the rent was doubled. We were put on a month-to-month lease, and we were told by the church that they wanted to use it for the pastor for a home. In reaction to that, the township at the time built this building. This building houses the ambulance corps, first floor for municipal, and there was supposed to be a second floor. Unfortunately, the people at the time, mayor and council majority, voted to keep it within a grant. We had received a grant of $460,000. We kept it within the grant, and unfortunately, we moved into a building that was inadequate from day one. It's a shame because we could have had a beautiful municipal complex here, but that's 20/20 hindsight. If you look at the building, since we moved in 1980, it's been inadequate for our departments. In the mid-1980s, we were fortunate to negotiate with the Board of Education the use of Coolidge School. So we have the building department, fire prevention, the assessor, and our water billing department, all located at Coolidge. What happens, people come in here, they need to see the assessor, they're coming for the tax collector, or they want to see the building department. We send them to 540 Saddle River Road. Here we have court. Obviously, the building's not big enough for court. We have a sign in the back that says occupancy 50 people. A lot of times our court cases are over 100. We don't have the security that we should. We don't have the entrance and exits that we should. And again, the people come in. They were here for court on Wednesday night. They're coming to pay their tickets, coming up to our building, saying, well, we're here. We got to go 2 buildings down. It's an inconvenience for the residents. It's an inconvenience for the people. We had another opportunity, 299 Market Street, 4-story office building that was suggested to be purchased for municipal purposes. Fortunately, majority rules and the majority decided not to purchase. We had an opportunity for the Saddlebrook Baptist Church that was on Saddle River Road and Bell Avenue with the purchase of 3 homes on Jamrose. Again, the votes weren't there to make the purchase. Twice, we've had the opportunity to purchase Letterex, the building right across the street. One for a purchase price of $600,000 in the mid-'80s, and in the mid-2000s for $2,900,000. Again, we didn't have the votes to go ahead with the purchase. In hindsight, maybe it's best because we do have a proposal that will fit everything. A community center, municipal purposes, fire department, and the ambulance corps. 20 Sampson Street. We made a purchase. We were able to purchase it for a field, our first recreational field. But up until that time, from 1980 when the roof collapsed on the old DPW site at Engine 2, from 1978, until 1980, we were paying $80,000 a year rent for a garage, a trailer, and a piece of property to store equipment. However, on the other side, we did have opportunities. We purchased 63 Market Street when Gleason's went bankrupt, and we were able to purchase the property for $350,000 and build a police station, state-of-the-art police station there. We did purchase 2nd Street for DPW. So now we have a garage that houses our equipment instead of it being stored outside. We did purchase Saddlebrook Senior Center for $250,000 in the mid-1980s. So the town proactively made some purchases that have helped the township. Going back to the 1960s, and I have minutes here, going back, 60s, 70s, we talked about a municipal complex. We talked about a boys' club. We talked about a girls' club. Never came to pass. In the mid-1980s, we did open up Coolidge School for a youth center. Unfortunately, it didn't last long because of the limitations of the building. We did have some games for the kids and a place for them to hang out, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. Our firehouse. Our firehouse was built in the 1940s. Unfortunately, we haven't upkept with the building, did any upkeep, renovations. The bathrooms are not barrier-free, and even if we did nothing else, we would have to renovate the firehouse. Some of our surrounding communities have constructed or renovated their municipal police buildings, such as Bergenfield, renovation of a municipal building, $12 million. Emerson, renovation of a new municipal building, between $9.6 and $15 million. Garfield is building a new police station, approximately $7,500,000. East Rutherford has plans for a new police station and courtroom, $12,500,000. Fairview is planning a new municipal complex, 17,000 square feet, a 3-story building, $9 million. Fairlawn built their recreation center in 2005-2006 at a cost of $11 million, 42,000 square foot building. Rutherford is building a new police station, $4,400,000. And they're all on municipal-owned properties, so this is just construction costs. When we first met with the owners of the property, they were looking to see about development of the property. Home Depot, Villager Hardware had been vacant for a number of years. Retail, I believe, was out of the question. They were looking into other types of development. And we inquired whether they were interested in selling the property. And they said they would look into it and got back to us and said yes. And many times over the years, people have said with Home Depot being vacant, why aren't we looking into it? Maybe we should look into purchasing it. To the credit of Mayor and Council, we did. They authorized us to go ahead. So we're talking about a piece of property that's 4.77 acres with a first floor square footage of 54,000 square feet, and a second floor of 29,000 square feet. And the purchase price for this property would be $9,400,000, with a bill to suit of $14,351,000 for a total of $23,751,000. For comparison, square footage, our municipal building here has 3,756 square feet. Of course, to offset the cost, we have potential for grants, such as the barrier-free bathrooms, doorways, and the potential of selling this piece of property once we move. Now, we talked about on the, I don't know if you can see it on here. On this side, for those of you that are familiar, next to Acme, there is an access road. And the access road would be dedicated for emergency vehicles. That would be the fire department and the ambulance corps. There would be barriers put up on the side, and that road would be strictly used for access for the emergency vehicles and the volunteers. There's over 300 parking spaces, so the parking would all be in the front of the building, with the back being reserved for the police and the ambulance corps. Again, that access road would be a dedicated road, wouldn't be used for public purposes, strictly for the fire department and the ambulance corps when they have their calls. We have an area on the side of the building, which would be a civic center, recreation. We have an area for municipal, for the court, for a public meeting room. All the offices are located at Coolidge School, as well as the offices here at Town Hall. And the area in the back would be for the fire department and their equipment, as well as the ambulance corps. Again, let me emphasize, this is how the owners project the building could be. We haven't met with any of the departments. We haven't earmarked square footage yet, but it shows that the building could accommodate all the departments that we hope to put there. Now, the pros on this project, we have a community recreation center that would be for all ages. All the municipal offices would be located in one location. Coolidge School would be given back to the Board of Education. Over the past few years, we have been approached by interim superintendents looking at that for office space. I know the Board of Ed is short space, and that could be a possible answer to some of the problems with space with the Board of Ed. We have room for expansion. Again, nationwide, historically, interest rates are low. To borrow the money to do a purchase and renovations, I think the auditor, when he comes up, will agree this is a perfect time to do it. We have the possibility of selling off this property to offset costs. The location is centrally located for a municipal community center. And there will be a part of the cost, and that's part of the, what we talked about is for furniture, equipment, phone system, relocating monuments. That's all going to be part of the total cost. As a resident, as a taxpayer, as a former elected official, as well as a township employee, I want to applaud and thank the Mayor and Council for taking on this, looking into this project. We've all been there. Every administration, going back to the 70s, has looked to increase space for municipal purposes. We never got there. Hopefully with this project and this opportunity, we will move forward, and Saddlebrook will have the facilities that it's due and owe to the people. To end, I just want to read, Township Historian, I got this information. The master plan for recreation. A community recreation center. The recreation plan recommends the development of a community recreation center. The location is proposed to be on Mayhill Street, on vacant property situated between I-80 and the Conrail freight lines. Now, this is across the street from Arrow Fastener. A special study should be undertaken to determine the required community center program, facility needs, services, costs, etc. The site selected is adequate for the development of a multi-purpose indoor recreation facilities. The date of this report, March 1979. 40 years later, we may have that opportunity now to fulfill what our master plan originally said. And with hopefully we'll have the support of the community. Again, this is only a rendering. This is not something that's etched in stone yet, but it's a concept, and it gives us an idea what we have now versus what the future will be for us. At this time, I would like to call up some of the principals from Vision just to talk about their background, because they would be the ones that would be developing and building the complex for us. Sam, if you just want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Peter. That's a pretty impressive historical biograph there, I'll tell you. Well, 300 years, we want to try to make this a possibility for everybody in 300 days maybe, who knows. But Ryan Frazier is here. He has been actively involved with Peter and the mayor and others as we've tried to understand exactly what you folks wanted to accomplish. But a little bit about us and how we can hopefully help execute this to reality for you. Vision Real Estate Partners is our firm. I'm one of the managing partners and the founder of the firm. We own both the Home Depot Villager Hardware site as well as the Acme. Peter is right. We've talked to the town about some alternative uses and trying to re-tenant the Home Depot site for several years. Retail, as we all know, because we all, I just bought something for my mother on Amazon, so the retail world is a little bit tough right now. Or we would have tried to re-tenant that with some type of retail use. We had some other alternative uses that we were exploring and talking to the town, and the town, I think, being quite proactive and really thinking about clearly the best interest for your citizens, came to us and wanted to explore this opportunity. We really weren't looking to sell the building. Okay, we were looking to lease the building or do some type of alternative use. But I can tell you in the discussions, we absolutely want to try to help make this a reality for you. A little bit about our organization. We do a lot of corporate office. We've developed some of the largest corporate headquarters in the state. From a Bergen County standpoint, way back when we did own the headquarters for Samsung Electronics over in Ridgefield Park, their original building. We've recently completed 700,000 square foot North American headquarters for Bayer Healthcare. Metropolitan Life, we have their global investment headquarters. It's a little bit over 250,000 square feet. And most recently, we just delivered a little bit over 500,000 square feet for Barclays Bank for a major operations center for them in northern New Jersey. That gives you a little bit of kind of, hopefully, the quality of what we would do with respect to execution on this. We can't be any more excited about making this a reality for you, and I really do believe that this is the best execution for this property. But the best I could tell you is you're really going to have a development partner here. The council, Peter for sure, and I mean, I don't know if there's a document you don't have control of, so you got the best guy working for you. Believe me, we've seen a lot of communities, and you guys are very buttoned up. So I think you should be very happy with who's, walking you through this process. But we want to be a partner. We want to walk you through. We want to execute this on a timely basis. Ryan has spent a lot of time with our in-house architect, coming here, meeting with the different departments. To Peter's point, this is purely a rendition and shows that everything you want to accomplish can be done within the four corners of this building. We would be adding a mezzanine to it. We would be infilling a little bit of area in the back of the building. The dedicated area for emergency services was well thought out through the beginning. And Peter talked about a little bit of the ills in some of the prior facilities. I would tell you this will be 100% code compliant. It'll meet all the ADA standards. You'll have all the energy efficiencies. I mean, this is a building that will take you, maybe not for the next 300 years, but it's certainly going to take you for many, many more years. And again, it would be our great pleasure to work hand in hand with Saddlebrook to make this a reality. If there's anything else you'd want to hear, I'd be happy to answer questions later.
Again, it's an opportunity, as the owner said they weren't looking for. We happened to meet. It seems like it was a perfect time putting this project together. I'm excited about it. A lot of people are excited about it. We want to see this hopefully come to pass. And this is our presentation to the public to let you know what we've been up to this point. Again, it's a conceptual plan. The walls aren't set. The equipment in there isn't set. It's conceptual, just to show, as Sam said, what the building can hold in its current state. We're adding a second floor. That'll be for storage, for additional use by the township. And hopefully we'll be able to get the project going shortly and not wait. But again, we've had our missed opportunities. I know Mayor Dorminio, former mayor's here. He had the opportunity, brought it to the council to buy across the street. And as I did when I was mayor, we couldn't get the votes. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe now we have a place that we could put everything in one location, one spot for the residents to come. A community center, a recreation center for the children that's been talked about, I think going back almost the 300 years we've been here, and get it all done. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Mayor, would you like comments?
Peter, you did an excellent job, thank you. And Sam, I appreciate you coming here tonight and speaking on behalf of Visions. I just feel that what Peter said, I want to echo the same thing. I think it's the right time. To me, it's a perfect fit, and we can get everything we want in that building. And we have this building here that we could either sell or rent out, so that would offset some of the cost. The fire department, hook and ladder, it really is in need of to be renovated. I don't want to say it's in a state of disrepair, but you know they do an excellent job maintaining what they can. But it's an old building. The other parts of the building, which was the old police department and the court where they vacated, they're now in the police station. So the building is not ideal. What Peter mentioned about the court, we tried for a while to go to Lodi and do court over there, and it was problematic. As a matter of fact, they wanted us out of there, so it just wasn't working out. And we had obviously we had a shared service agreement, but we had to pay them to hold our court, our municipal court in Lodi. It's difficult here when we do have court. It's not big enough. They've tried to hold court, to have two sessions, you know, one in the early part of the evening and then one later in the evening. And no matter what they've tried, the parking's not good here. So residents are inconvenienced across the street and on Harrison Avenue because people are parking all over the place. Plus, even though we try to hold two different sessions, it ends up, for some reason, I don't know why, they all come at the same time, and we're back at square one. So that's a problem. I think it's good as far as having all the departments together. That's certainly advantageous. All the white-collar workers, the municipal workers in the same building is definitely something that we would benefit from. Right now, I can't tell you how many times people come in looking for the building department, looking for the court, as Peter had said. It's every day. Every day there's probably 3-4 times a day somebody's coming in. So it's inconvenient having the building department and the court in different locations. The rec center, you know what, that's been a dream of mine. They've been talking about, I grew up in this town, as did many of you, and I've been here in rec center since I'm old enough to remember. And it just never got accomplished. And all the other towns around us have one. I think we owe it to our children, our recreation department. Not just recreation. A civic, this would be like a civic center, so it's not just the kids. There'll be other other things done in that center as well. For adults. I'm 100% for it, and my concern is, and I probably, like every one of you, and our auditor is going to speak, is how are we going to pay for it? You know, I don't want to, you know, no one wants to raise taxes, certainly exorbitantly to the taxpayers. I think that we could do this, and we could do it in an efficient, effective way, and not burden the taxpayers too much. So that's the way I feel about it. I'm feel very positive about it, and I'm excited.
Thank you, Mayor. We will be opening to the public, just so everybody knows, but we'd first like to maybe have some of your questions answered up here before we do that. But at this time, I'd like the auditor to give us some numbers.
Well, I guess the $24 million question is how we pay for it. A project this size, the average debt service, as we've calculated, we're looking at between $24 and $25 million over a 30-year term, just like most people have their home mortgages. The average debt service on that is about $1.4 million. On the surface, that would be 6 tax points and would equate to approximately $190 in increased property taxes to the average homeowner. We are, however, in a bit of a good situation here in that there's some old tax appeal refunding bond issues that come off the books soon. There's an old bond issue for capital improvements that comes off the books in 2021. So the way we've, based on timing, the way we've laid this out, that it looks to be that when we fold this new debt with the old debt, that the impact to the average homeowner will be less than $100. And that could be plus or minus $10 or $15 one way or the other. We're in this town's probably in the best financial position it's ever been in terms of having generated a significant amount of surplus over the last few years. The plan is to use that surplus as revenue in the budget to help offset the increased cost in the debt service, to provide for the debt service for this new facility. And again, with some of the other older issues coming off, we just replaced the old debt service with new debt service money, so that the goal is to have the net impact on the budget somewhere under $100 once we get up and running and have to fund it in the budget.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Just through the chair.
Yes.
You said 190, was it 190 a year or a one-time fee?
190 a year every year. I mean, once it's in the budget, it's an additional $1.4 million in debt service.
No, I just want to clear it up, so I heard somebody mention it was a year.
Right, but, and again, that's looking at it as, the $24, $25 million paid back over 30 years, $1 million for a year. But because we have existing debt service on the books that will be coming off the books as it's paid off in full, we're able to replace some of that debt service with this debt service, which makes the net impact on the budget much less than the $190.
Okay, good. Okay. Yep. Once I think before I do open, I just want to take this opportunity to commend our first responders who are sitting here in the first row, and Andy back there also, for an awesome job you guys did last night, fighting that horrific fire. I'm sure everyone is, so thankful and grateful that everyone got home safe. We certainly are, and we thank God and we pray that He keeps all of you safe all the time. But thank you also for being here, because I'm sure you're tired. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks. At this time, I'd like a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're asking for a 3-minute time limit because there's so many people. Of course, I'm not going to cut you off in the middle of something you have to say, but if you can, and just keep in mind it is just, preliminary plans, and we will be meeting with all the prospective departments. So at this time, whoever would like to come up and state your name and address and tell us what you think.
everyone. Emil Sudol, 412 Van Leeuwen Terrace, Saddlebrook. I just had a couple of questions pertaining to this. It looks wonderful. It's a great idea and all that. Question that I have is ratables right now. How much money is that, are you paying in property taxes right now that we will be losing?
Approximately, well, answer your questions, I want to.
Okay,
ask
that's
your
number
questions and I'll
one.
answer.
Number two, this is a we built to suit kind of deal. So the owner is the one, the developer. We cannot go outside and get a different contractor to give you a price on the, we're locked into whatever he says as far as prices go, correct?
Well, again, ask your
Okay, that's
question.
number two. There was one more issue I wanted to bring up. Well, I guess that's it. Those are my main concerns, is property taxes,
Okay.
you know, and,
Alrighty.
being that it's built to suit, we have to go with. Is this his conception or our conception?
Just to clarify, the owners of the property did a great job, and we told them what we need: municipal, civic center, recreation, fire, and ambulance. We took a tour of the buildings to show what we have existing. They've come up with that. We haven't met with the departments yet until we know we're gonna go ahead with the project.
Okay. Is there any
But
other?
they came up with their vision of what the building can accommodate based on what we told them.
Is there any other way we could purchase this property? Through like eminent domain? The place is sitting empty.
Well, let me,
Can't we condemn it, purchase it?
just to go back a
at
little
fair-
bit,
Fair market value?
we've had an appraisal done, outside appraisal, because we're doing our due diligence also. The appraisal has come in, without giving numbers, ballpark, like a little higher than the purchase price.
Higher.
So, yeah, so our appraisal and purchase price are within range. The ratables that we're losing, it's approximately $250,000, which we hope to make up with some of the new developments in town. We have apartments going on up on Midland Avenue as well as other projects. And third question was,
Eminent domain.
well, we don't need eminent domain if we're in agreement to purchase the property.
Yeah.
We went through eminent
That's
domain
pretty
years
much
ago.
it. Like I said, the project looks wonderful. I think it is, you know, definitely needed here in the town. But
Back in 2000, we
it's
did
just that
eminent
I don't wanna
domain.
get nailed with a $300 or $400 a year tax
Well-
increase, cause and you said, I think it was $182. Is that per 100,000?
No,
Or,
it's the estimate on the annual debt service of 1.4 million
right,
is $190 on the average residential assessment, which is 336.
so it's per household, basically.
For average
Okay.
household.
All right.
Some will get a little bit less, some will be a little bit more.
All right, I'll take less.
To answer your question on eminent domain,
Yes.
one that's usually used if the property owner is not willing to sell or we need it for a public purpose. If you remember, we did that in the year 2000. We were sued, we settled, we paid a lot more money for the property than what we probably could have gotten for if we had negotiated, and that was Sampson Street. So, we have an agreement, so
Veterans Field was acquired through eminent domain?
that's what I just mentioned, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Emil.
Just
Next?
through the chair,
Yes.
Emil, you asked about going out to bid instead of using a contractor.
Right.
Well, since we've been up here, it seems going out to bid with state bid is nothing but an issue with the contractors that we get, and unfortunately, you have to go with the lowest bid, and the lowest bid is not always the best. We've seen that just recently with the streets they did. Horrible job. And I'm not embarrassed to say it, we approved them to use that company, and they did a horrible job to our residents and to the township. So as far as going out to bid, I think using a professional company with the reputation they have, me personally, I'd much rather use a company like Vision than lowest bid from the state. That's just my opinion. I think that's the way to go.
Thank you, Councilman.
Also, to protect our interests, we have talked about hiring an architect who would represent the township every step of the way, as well as a projects manager who would be there on a daily basis to make sure that what we're looking for will be installed into the building. So we have our safeguards as a municipality.
One of the other things is, I think this resolution is to hire Sedembrino.
Yes.
They came up with a number. We kind of know from our appraiser how much the property itself is worth, but like you say, they're saying it's gonna cost X amount of dollars. How do we know that it's the right number? We hire an architect to go through it, look at it, and give us his or her opinion as to whether or not it's the right price. So we're not just throwing money out there without looking into it. So we will be hiring an architect to go over the plans to see if we're on the same page, and then afterwards, what we can do is have this architect oversee the plans. There'll also be somebody called a clerk, they call it clerk of the works, but somebody that's gonna oversee the project, not for them, they have their own project manager, but we'll have a project manager looking out for our interests.
Thank you, Councilman. Next.
Good evening, everyone. I've been told by the town historian, I'm Lou Darminio. I'm the 7th mayor of the township of Saddlebrook. And I can tell you from experience, this is a wonderful project. Mayor, I commend you and the rest of the council for pursuing this. This is something we've been wanting to do for years. During my administration, we were able to purchase, you talk about eminent domain, we purchased Veterans Field and negotiated with the developer during that time to prevent 450 units being built over by where Veterans Field is now. This project is something that incorporates every component of the municipality in one spot, with the bonus of a recreational component that we always wanted to do at Veterans Field and weren't able to do it. You're able to do that now. You won't find another piece of property, nor will you find an opportunity to do this as you will right now. I see the first responders here, the fire department, I see some of the chiefs that worked under my administration, and we always said to the chiefs, and I always said, and I know the mayor does, if you're gonna buy equipment, buy the best equipment for the fire department, ambulance corps, and all our first responders. We've always said that. You deserve a good building, a building that is as well built as the police department was at the time. You deserve that. The buildings that we have now, the township has outgrown. Can no longer, the township is growing in this township, and the municipality and municipality services have to grow along with it. So I commend you, Mayor, council members, for pursuing this. And yes, we're concerned about taxes, but as the auditor says, the bonds we floated years ago are gonna now fall off, and you're gonna now not have the $190 tax impact that you normally would if you didn't have that. So if you balance everything out, you're gonna find that this is a win-win situation for the taxpayers of Saddlebrook. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Ratajczak, 92 Claremont. There's no doubt that we need this type of building and this thing for our town. The only thing I would say is 25 million is 25 million. When you make it sound like 190, it's, you know, it's like playing three-card Monte. It's not really what it is. I'm just wondering if you could put it out to the taxpayers on a referendum and see if they want to go for it. Because we've been involved in some projects lately that have been doozies. Okay? Like I said, we got a police department over there. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Do we really need a police department like that? We have offices upstairs we don't even use. Okay? It's, I wouldn't say it's overkill, but it's just not for a town like ours. We got involved in Veterans Field. We spent double of what we planned on spending there. And I mean, look what we have there. Our track record is not very well. And all of them projects
have been decided by the council. This one is gonna probably be 5 times the amount of what we ever spent. I don't know what we spent on the police department, but I think this one's gonna be 5 times the amount. And I think it should go to the taxpayers and let them decide. There's no, like I said, there's no doubt that we need it, I'm for it, but I think that the taxpayers should be allowed to decide, really, to spend it. That's a lot of money that we're spending. You might make it sound like 190 for 30 years, but like I say, we have other things coming up. We have police retirements, we have walking away packages. We're not prepared for that kind of stuff. We're just not prepared. And like I say, this here is a big nut when you look at it. I don't care how many years you take it over. It's a big nut, big commitment, and I think the taxpayers should be allowed to decide this. Like I say, I think it's a good idea, like you said, Todd, with letting the owner of the property, let him be the developer, let him be the contractor, because we have no luck with contractors. We get the beauties all the time. And like I say, if it's gonna be him and he's doing it, I think that's the right way to go. But like I say, I think it should be put out to the people and let the people decide. Because it's really for the town to decide, not just the 5 or 7 people up here. And it's really, like I say, the town that does it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing for it? Nope. Sure. Okay, motion to close. Second, all in favor? Okay. Council comments at this point?
One of the things that the mayor had touched on is consolidation, and that's important. I'm doing a closing tomorrow, and it's a property in Saddlebrook, and the person had to get a CO. Well, in our town, you have to make a payment. In order to get the CO, you gotta pay for the water meter. So they have to come here, make a payment, get the receipt, go to another building across town, pay for the CO for the fire inspection, and then do it, which is not optimum. It's an inconvenience to the people. The other thing, and I would say this for any municipality and for any business, you can see businesses that are successful often have one thing in common, and that is that they have adequate parking. There are 10 spaces here, a couple of spaces down the hill. The police station has 1 space. The possibility is if we can get rid of some of those buildings there, even if we sell it, we can maintain some of that property and give the police department adequate parking. We have more than adequate parking in front of the spot where we are going to hopefully purchase and develop. And that is the main thing. For court purposes, like the mayor had said, we've had people come here and complain, people are parking on my block. Well, they're entitled to, but, I want to be able to park in front of my house. I don't want to have to park 2 blocks away because court's in session. There's not going to be any overflow because there's more than adequate parking over there. I think it's a great project. I've lived here 35 years, and all I've heard is, why can't we? Why don't we have a rec center? Why there's nothing for the kids to do? I don't know how much it's going to be utilized. It's a different world now than it was 35 years ago. Kids may be content with sitting home and playing Fortnite on their computer, but there are people who want to go out and do physical activities. We need a place for them to do it, and if we let this opportunity go by, we don't know when the next time we're going to get that opportunity. The other thing I heard for years, why don't we buy the Home Depot? Why don't we buy the Home Depot? Well, the Home Depot wasn't for sale, and you can't force someone to sell something. Emil had asked about the eminent domain. Eminent domain doesn't mean you get it for free. You can take, it's not a blighted piece of property. It's just sitting there, and they were paying taxes, and they were paying rent to the owner. They're not paying rent to the owner anymore. So it's a good time for us to jump in and get it. And again, I don't know, when you look around, I don't see too many abandoned pieces of property that we would be able to build. This does have the benefit of having an actual structure that's made, so we don't have to build foundation on up. So I think it's the perfect opportunity for us to do it, and if we don't do this now, you know, I'll be dead before they build another one, or they build anything here that would even closely resemble what we can get out of this. It's consolidation, and it's just good for the township, young and old, because like the mayor had said, it's not just a rec center just for kids. We have a senior center, that's limited to seniors. But if we have a walking track on top, it doesn't mean that you have to be 10 years old to use it. You could be 100 years old. If you can get up there, you can use that. So it's going to be for the entire town. Plus our municipal complex it's small. I mean, look at where we are. We're jammed in here. And court, you've got people overflowing going outside. It's just not in keeping what Saddlebrook is and what Saddlebrook is about. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman.
I agree with everything Andrew said, the mayor said. We all agree that we need to do something. I think it's an opportunity. I think it brings us into the future. I'm here 57 years. They talked about it when I was in high school, a rec center. My kids grew up here, no rec center. It gives us everything I believe that we need. I think the timing is right. I think the auditor, if I could ask you again, those numbers weren't just popped out of your head. You actually went over and, you know.
No, Councilwoman.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
We've done some extensive debt service investigation and schedules and analysis, and everything I said was based on all of that work.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that. And also, just, let's think about Pete in his office.
I'm not moving, so it doesn't matter.
And I'll close with that. But I do hope everybody supports it. I do think it's a great thing. I think the fire department will be happy. As Pete said, nothing is complete there. So you will get your say of what you want. We're not gonna take anything without going over it with you. So just to be assured, but I think it's something good for town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is something that we've been talking about for months. It's needed in the community. It's an excellent opportunity. I'm 100% on board. Obviously, the money has to make sense. It's going to cost the taxpayer a lot. It's going to come at a cost. I believe that it's worth every penny. We've had tragedy in the town. We need to have a place where our children can go. We all drive around town on a Friday, Saturday night. We see kids out by the CVS around town. This will give the children an opportunity to go somewhere and do something productive. Again, I'm 100% on board. I appreciate all the work that the mayor and Pete have done thus far. I have full faith in visions and what they're going to do for us. So let's get it done. And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
I also agree, that's one of the reasons why myself and my wife moved here 17 years ago was we used to drive by and see a thermometer out front to raise money for a rec center. And growing up in Lodi, I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Boys and Girls Club. It gave the kids a place to go, to hang out, to learn things, and be with other children in the community other than the ones you live around. So I think it's a good opportunity for the kids as well as the adults. I have a child that's in the basketball program, and we go to towns that these kids get like three days of gym time. Our kids are lucky if they get 1 day a week of gym time because of the programs. I think it'll help for that and that alone. Not to say I'm just for the rec, but to see our kids who work hard at practice lose week after week after week because they don't have gym time and walk off that court like they just won a championship because it's just the way that they are. It's still a good feeling, but to be able to hopefully see these kids get the practice they can get in and deserve to get because of the taxes we do pay, and I'm sure the taxes are going to go up, obviously, but to know they're going up for a good reason, it's just, it's finally priceless for me as a taxpayer. I'm sure you got 57 years here, I got a third of what you have, so I mean, and I'm happy about it. But I think it's a good thing for everyone, and I'm also for 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, anything?
Yeah, just quickly, a couple of things. First of all, I just want to also commend and thank all the members of the fire department. Those were brutal conditions last night, and you always come through. It was a major disaster there, and you're always there for us, and we really appreciate it. I don't know what we'd do without you, and thank you for all you do. Regarding the project, I want to thank everyone that came up and spoke. There were some very good questions that were asked. As far as Mayhill, as far as using another contractor, I couldn't agree more with than what Todd said. We've done our due diligence. We've researched Visions. They're a top-notch developer. We've had several discussions, and as far as I'm concerned, you know what? Call me, I don't know, call me crazy, but you know what? I go by my gut sometimes. You know what? And I met these individuals. I think that I really believe that this is a good project. I believe they're going to do right by us. That doesn't mean that we're not going to hire a project manager, okay, to protect our interests. But that's not because we don't think that they're going to do the right thing. We know they're going to do. I know they're going to do the right thing. But it's communication. Big project like this, you need to have somebody there saying, "Oh, wait a minute. What about this? What about that?" Because there's a lot of things that are going on there. So I think we definitely should go with Visions and also hire a project manager. Again, I'm very, very excited. As far as Larry is concerned with going out to the public, you know what? I believe based on what I see tonight, this is it's a microcosm of our public, of Saddlebrook residents. I do believe, I get the feeling that people are in favor of it. We don't have to go, it's not required. And the whole when else, I mean, Pete mentioned how many times before where things weren't passed. Everyone, myself and all the council members seem to, be 100% behind this project. And it just makes sense, it's the right thing to do. So I, for one, think we should just go forward with it, certainly, I don't believe we should take it to a referendum.
Thank you, Mayor. And I too, I agree with my fellow colleagues up here and the mayor, and I thank Vision, for working with us. And like we said, we're going to be meeting with all the departments and, listening to all your concerns and your wish lists also. I've been sitting up here, actually, I'm one of the longest, I won't say oldest, but one of the longest sitting. No, I was waiting for him to say something, he usually does. But sitting members up here, and I've seen the missed opportunities. There's always been something else that came, ahead of what, our plan is here. Always something else, always something else. So everything happens for a reason, I totally believe it, and everything in its due time. So I totally believe that this timing is right. Like the auditor said, we're in an awesome position. We are, regardless of what Mr. Tychek says, we are in a very good situation with our finances. And, we're going to be fiscally responsible, that's for sure. But it's time. It's time, and, I think this is going to be something that we're all going to be very proud of. And I look forward to it getting started yesterday. But anyway, having said that, once again, I thank everyone for coming out this evening. The weather. What's that? Right. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I can't close the meeting yet. We do have some business.
Yeah.
But in my closing comments is, like I said, thank you, everyone, and we're very approachable if anyone needs to talk to us about anything, any concerns. Thanks again.
Council President, we do have our architect here in the audience, if you want to say
Okay,
maybe a
great,
few
yes.
words on his background.
Yes.
Mr. Kevin
Sorry.
Cedebrino.
Yes, would you please come up?
Good evening, and thank you for having me here this evening. My name is Kevin Sedembrino. I own Sedembrino Architects in Red Bank, New Jersey. The only type of work that we do is municipal architecture for municipalities, the state of New Jersey, boards of education, counties, the state of New Jersey as well. So this type of project is the only thing that our office produces. So thank you for the opportunity to give a little background on the company on behalf of the mayor and council. We'll be happy to look at the project for you, review it, make sure it's in keeping with all of the codes in New Jersey in accordance with the Administrative Office of the Courts and DOC as well, in addition to NJUCC codes, and frankly, good design. So we'll make certain that we represent you well so that you get essentially all of the facets of a municipal building and a recreation complex that are typical of this type of municipality. So our firm currently is currently under construction with a new municipal building in the borough of Seabright on the ocean. We're doing a new police station right now for the borough of Clark. We're the architects for the new municipal building in the borough of Highlands in Monmouth County, and multiple municipalities and counties in between. We're actually working for the county of Monmouth now for a fit-out of an old grocery store that they bought very similar to this project, about 66,000 square feet of interior renovation, where the county of Monmouth is placing some of their human services and probation departments inside an old grocery store. So this is very similar to a project we're working on right now for the county of Monmouth, about $12 million or so in terms of interior fit-out. That does not include any of the cost of the property acquisition, which is here as well. If the mayor and council has any other questions, I'm just happy to take them.
Just so that the council knows, Mr. Sedembrino was one of the architects a few years back under a prior administration who reviewed our facilities here. We were trying to come up with a concept of what we could do, and he was one of the architects who submitted a design proposal.
Great. Any questions for the architect over here? No? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks.
Resolution?
Okay, yes. Resolution?
Whereas the Township of Saddlebrook is interested in the purchase as well as renovation of 55 Mayhill Street for municipal purposes, whereas it is in the best interest of the township to engage an architect to represent the township and review the costs and plans presented to date, whereas Sedembrino Architects, 25 Bridge Road, Red Bank, New Jersey, has submitted a proposal for such work at a cost of $2,950 plus expenses. Now therefore be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that it hereby approves said proposal submitted by Sedembrino Architects in the amount of $2,950 plus expenses as set forth in their proposal dated January 30th, 2019.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes. That's it? That's it? No other-
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.